back to the He's an Old podcast. My name is Marcco and I'm your host. Today I have with me a good friend of mine, Miss Crystal Beverly.
Hi guys, what's up?
Miss Crystal Beverly, so where can they find you on socials?
Honestly, the best way to keep up with me is to just go ahead and subscribe to beautyby10.com. And all of our social media links can be found there. But pretty much everything is being a little revamped. It's still Beauty by 10, but we've replaced our images and upgraded for the future. So you can find us on social medias at BeautyX10, TEN. It's just
.com?
On our social medias. So on Instagram. Okay. And on Facebook and on Twitter is BeautyX10.
Okay, that's cute.
Yes.
A little revamp.
Yeah, a little revamp.
Excellent. Of course, you already know, especially if you are joining for another episode, that you can find more about me on my personal channel. I am a lifestyle vlogger. I also release makeup and music content over there as well. On YouTube, the @ name is Marcco Demond. MarccoDemond. Y'all know the vibes. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and get into it. We have a great topic today. Actually, we have a great few topics today. So let's just cue that intro. Before we get into today's topic, don't forget that the He's an Old podcast here on YouTube is brought to you by the DaVinci 3 Network, which is presented to you by DaVinci 3 Multimedia Group. Let's just get into it. So today, girl, we have a few things to get into. Okay? It is my pleasure to have, like I said earlier, a great friend of mine, Miss Crystal Beverly, here today for this episode. I mentioned in previous episodes that I had a few opinions that I wanted to share about the LGBT community as a whole, not necessarily targeting one or the other. But I wanted to, I feel like I sat down and I gave my opinion on my life as a gay black man in Atlanta and what, I feel like I go through. And I wanted to sit down with you because you are a trans friend of mine. And I wanted to discuss your life, in Atlanta and how things are going for you. And also take the time to dig into the fucking asses. Because you wasn't here for that. But girls, I said like, comment, and subscribe because we will be digging into your asses on certain things. And today is that day. I just want to clear some miscommunications, some misconceptions. Let's just get into it. So I feel like the biggest thing that I, as a gay black man, sit back and witness is a lot of demonizing of our community. In all of the parts of our community, I feel like I see a lot more of companies trying to take a stand and trying to uplift and glorify our community, but the rollout might be done in a way that is not perceived or easily accepted by the masses.
Yes.
And I feel like it creates a lot of controversy. I feel like it creates a lot of tension, unspoken, unheard of, unnecessary tension. And the biggest piece of this conversation I wanted to get into is we know that trans people are people, real feelings, real fight, real lives. You get what I'm saying? There are so many people that have lost their lives behind this fight of I need to be who I am.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to get your perspective on that first.
In today's world, I feel like I have been, almost forced to face some of these issues. Whereas in my mind, I thought that, I've been trying very, very hard to live. I guess we all live normal lifestyles, but to show on my platform that, you know, we work hard,
right,
just like the next American or the next person.
That we're people.
Or whatever, that we're people. We have dreams, we have hopes, we have goals and aspirations, and we are very effective in the things that we do.
Right.
And I think that's been my whole goal, is to normalize trans living.
Right.
Because people make such a big deal about it. I just made a post today that, like, people, the gay conversation amongst everyone on the internet, like all these posts that I see, it's gay this, gay that, like in some form or another, whether they're just, you know, having fun with it or, you know, but it's straight people, you know what I mean? And it's just like, what is the obsession with like people's sexual desires?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Especially if they're not in your bedroom.
Especially if they're not in your bedroom. And I think, you know, having my husband really helps to make my life, I guess, normal. Because I have that support system. So when it comes to facing these adversities, I don't have to face them alone.
Right.
And I think that makes a big difference when you have male support behind a trans entity, because I don't want to say that, I'm not trying to make it seem like, oh, a trans woman needs a man to validate her or anything like that. But when you have,
it don't hurt.
It just doesn't hurt to have the presence of a black man who is confident and strong. And that is, you know, that's half of my platform, you know, so I can't say that, hey, the things that I get to do is just because of my own dreams and goals and aspirations. You know, I have another half to me.
Right.
And so on our platform, we want to make room for trans women to be powerful.
Right.
Do the things that they want to do. You know, we have so many different aspects of what we do that it's room for everybody to get a piece of the pie. You know what I mean? So, and I know you said a mouthful, so I don't know if I'm answering the question or if I'm rambling. But
okay.
But my leading statement was that, you know, today's society is just like, you're kind of forced to deal with these issues. And all I could say is just, you know, do you. Just keep showing up. Keep showing up into spaces that they otherwise would not have us in, and keep proving yourself worthy. Because at the end of the day, we're very influential. And I don't want to get into say anything that, you know, will be offensive to another group of person.
Because it don't take that.
Because it doesn't take that. You know, I think that we all admire different things about different people, different types of people, and we all give and take from it, you know. And I heard someone say, your favorite celebrity is dressed by a gay man whose favorite person is a trans woman who was legendary in the ballroom. Or, you know what I mean? Like, it's a chain reaction. It's an effect that drives our culture. You know, we all give and take. And this big debacle that's been going on between, like, trans women and cis women, and trans women are not real women, or are they? It's only two genders, and all of this, like, at the end of the day, all you really can do is, like, make sure your bubble is, like, secure. Because everybody's going to say whatever they want to say. Everybody's going to feel how they want to feel. You know, I'll be very careful what I say on social media, because everybody has their opinion. You can make a comment on something and then you'll get a list of, like,
Yeah.
Like,
this
you
and
know
that.
what I mean? It'd be so crazy and outrageous and just like, what is even the point? You know what I mean?
So, being completely honest, I really feel like Courtney said in a recent episode of the podcast, humanity really has lost its humanity in certain ways. You know what I'm saying? Like, let people be who they are. At the same time, when it comes to you as an individual, you know, you are free to do whatever it is that you want until it imposes on the rights of someone else, type of deal. And I feel like you just said, this whole, and we're not really going to get deep into it because this wasn't really meant for that, but there is this big unspoken, or very much so spoken, you know, battling going back and forth between cisgender women and transgender women. And like you said, I really just feel like again, agreeing with you, fix you. Make sure your bubble good. Make sure your shit good. You know what I'm saying? Like, how dare you have an opinion on someone else and they good? You know what I'm saying? Also, I feel like I'm not going to sit here and lie. Like, situations.
What I really meant by making sure your bubble is good, what I really meant was make sure that you're secure in whatever it is that you have going on.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not so much like, you know, telling the next person like fix you, but like make sure your circle is good. Yeah. You only need a few people, you know, that's close to you, that got your back, that got your support. You know what I mean? It only takes a few. We do need our friends. We need our support systems and things like that. But when you start allowing all the outside things distract you, it can be very discouraging. Right. You know, that's why you just shouldn't read the comments. That's why you shouldn't care about what, you know, because it's hard. It can be very discouraging. When you read some of these things, sometimes you need to know how people think. You know what I mean? So that you can know how to move. But it's very hard not to let it bother you sometimes. But I've learned how to kind of like, you know what? Let me just move past this. It's good to know that, because I have done good with my bubble. And so the people in my bubble love me and they, you know, support me, protect me, yada, yada, yada. But then you forget about those people outside the bubble that hate your guts, don't want to see you here anymore, like, at all. And that can be discouraging. That can make you want to go hide, go away, and like, you know what? I've definitely had so many moments where I want to just delete all my social media and just
be done.
Go get me a little job, child.
And just be done with it.
And just be done with it. Like,
but that's not, you know, what we were meant to do. You know, as I was telling you before we got on camera, this is my dream. I'm living it. I'm doing it and working on it. Halfway through the first season, I did come to a point where I felt like, why am I doing this? Like, maybe it's time to just like give it up, like go work a regular job, just live a normal life and stop trying to be this big over the top personality with all this going on. And then it kind of just hit me like, no, you're in this position, you did all this work, you spent all this money, spent all this time, finally got here. Do it. Don't give up. Like, keep going. It's your dream. It's all you think about. Outside of work, you rush home and sit in this office and make music, or rush home and sit in this office and edit videos. Like, it's your passion. And so I feel like I definitely understand where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, it's like, for me, when I try to maybe like ignore or suppress my dreams and desires, it's almost like a pressure cooker. With a lid on it. And it's just like boiling over, and it's like, you know, it's like, what are you doing? You know, and like, get it together, get on your grind, and like, so many opportunities come our way, and we just have to seize them, you know. But you also have to know how to create opportunity for yourself. There's so many, I don't know, so many different aspects of just like being an entrepreneur and always being on the brink of something. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like you just keep going, and something like it leads you to the next thing, and something that leads you to the next thing.
Mm.
You know, you keep moving and just try to do a little grace.
And never give up.
Try to have a little grace.
I know that's right.
Yes.
So, what would you say? Like I said, I asked again. I think before we started filming, I mentioned that I asked Courtney about his experience. You know, being gay and black in Atlanta in today's time in 2024. What is your experience like being trans in Atlanta in 2024? And what I'm asking is, when it comes to being yourself and secure and being yourself, and like, do you feel like you have places to go that you can like go into the movies or go into a bar? Like, do you feel like you have places that you're secure in and your life is where you want it?
I mean, I quite frankly, have always gone anywhere that I feels like it.
That's what I said.
Yes, I do.
Hey, you got to deal. You just got to deal with it.
And that is a line from my upcoming play, A Raising the Sun. I'll be playing Mrs. Johnson. And that's how she felt, even though she was lying. But I've never had those issues.
Right.
I truly go where I want to go. But as far as being a trans woman in Atlanta, when I first landed here, I did feel a sense of relief coming from the south side of Chicago. It was very freeing, it felt like, because the south side of Chicago was getting really rough.
Yeah.
And it just felt different when I came here. It did feel more free. And not because of any stereotypes that people put on Atlanta as, the LGBT capital or whatever, because
it's not
we're everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Trans people are everywhere. Gay people are everywhere. But being here, Chicago had a lot of places, for us to go. And Atlanta does too. If you want to go somewhere where you feel more safe and amongst your people.
Right.
There are plenty of places that you can go. But moving here really, I came here to, pursue both my relationship with my husband and my career.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I came here and life started. I mean, of course I had life in Chicago,
right.
But my career started and my romance has been romance.
It started falling into place.
Yes, because it's been romance. And I like it here. I like it here. It is a difference from when I go home now.
Mm-hmm.
And am out and about. I feel not at home.
Yeah.
It feels sometimes like weird. I don't know, like sometimes it feels
it's
a little
foreign because you know this now.
I'm used to this.
Yeah.
Almost stick out like a sore thumb. So coming here was definitely a great decision. I wanted to buy my big house here, and I have a home here, but I want to, really plant roots here. I know that it's a beautiful weather.
When they want to be.
I still feel like though, even though my career kicked off when I moved here, I still feel like I haven't put down, like I haven't really stumbled down to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a lot of out of town gigs and moving around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a lot here that I need to do.
Okay. God is really good.
God is really good. And I just want to tell the people, just never give up on your dreams. Pray, ask God what His will is for you, as well as always striving for greatness and excellence, whatever that may be, because it may look different for you than what you pictured.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What you really, really want, what you really, really desire, it's never out of reach, but it may just look different. And never think that, oh, I'm failing at this or I'm not good at that. Because, you know, I love to do music, I love to perform. And as long as I get to do that, I'm okay. You know, I get to write my own music, I get to go in the studio and record it, I get to go on the stage and perform it. What more could I really ask for? Besides the money that could come with it, but they don't even really make fame look fun anymore.
Okay.
So it's the craft that I love that I get to do that. You know, I honestly get to do it and it's pure, you know, and it's something that I just enjoy doing.
That part.
And asking God to guide our footsteps, I started doing makeup and learning, like, I just was gonna sell it. You know, I wasn't going to put my foot in that field, you know, but I guess God was like, yes, you are, you know, and because I took that leap of faith of something that I didn't even think I could do, to be honest, it's like, well, look where it takes you. You know, when you take one step towards your goals and your greatness, God will help you take another few. But you don't stop. You keep taking a few and He'll take you a few more. You know, because you can't do it by yourself. You know what I mean? Because it ain't hard out. It ain't easy out here. You know, so I was just telling people, you know, keep going. No matter game straight or bi or
don't matter.
Blue, purple,
tall, short,
with you, white, pink, blue, black, brown, red, green, all of the colors in this flag. Whatever you represent, you know, never give up, never shy away from who you are because of the next person. Because it's easy to just go and try to hide into the world and try to blend into the world, or try to take someone else's spot or try to blend. It's like all of these things that we deal with, like you were asking about the conversation between the trans women and the cisgender women. And I feel like the word cisgender does offend a lot of cisgender women. I don't know if everyone understands the term. So I know I could try to make it plain for the people on my platform. And cisgender is not a term just for women. You know, it describes any person who simply identifies as the sex that they were assigned at birth. Whether you're a straight man, you identify as
cisgender. Homosexual, though.
Even though he's gay, he's still a cisgender man. You know, and me as a trans woman, I don't want to take, I can't take, I don't desire to take anyone's spot or anyone's place. I'm very comfortable in my life. I'm very comfortable with saying, hey, I am a trans woman. I don't try to pass off as real fish. I don't use the terms clocked. I don't use the terms real. And I am who I am. I am a trans woman. And as I was saying, in 2024, I feel like I'm forced to address those issues and speak on that and say that, because it's no longer a time where I feel like I could just live in the shadows and just, I'm just not even going to address that. Because that's what I really thought I was going to do. I thought that I was just going to present myself to the world and really never address the trans issue, because I don't want it to be a thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that to be the only thing we ever talk about every time I do. No, not talking about, you know what I mean, your podcast, because that's what we're here to talk about. But
Crystal isn't just trans. Crystal is a singer. Crystal is
so
a rapper.
many,
Crystal's an
so many
artist.
other
Crystal's
things.
a woman, like literally.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way when it comes down to being gay. Like,
And the only time the conversation is comfortable is when I'm amongst my own. And if I'm not, the conversation becomes uncomfortable.
Loaded.
It becomes very uncomfortable. And it's just like, Like, I tried to have a conversation with a young lady, and she was just so offended by the term cisgender. And I was just trying to let her understand that the only reason the term exists is to make room for me in my existence. Because obviously, clearly, we're not the same. I'm different than you. So when we speak of, but I would like to be in your likeness. I'm not ashamed to admit that. I'm not better than you. I'm not competing with you. Obviously, what do they say? Imitation is the greatest form of flattery. So obviously, I admire you as a woman if I decided to take on your likeness. So I'm not trying to step on your toes.
Yeah. I
definitely give women their flowers. But this term cisgender is just to decide me from you. Only because I exist. If I didn't exist, then we wouldn't have to probably use the term cisgender. But I'm right here.
Yeah.
I do exist. And so when you try to use words to weaponize our community, it's like you're trying to oppress me all over again. And as a Black person, it's like the oppressed have become the oppressor. It's like, how dare you? And that causes a rift between the LGBT community and the Black community, amongst the rifts that we already have amongst our own selves.
Going on and everything else.
And so many subcategories of division. Because the Black community has been the harshest on us as a queer community. And it doesn't make sense to me, because look what we have gone through as a Black people to be oppressed and suppressed and discriminated against, you know. And I don't think that people understand that discrimination just have different levels, and they're all equally bad. Whether it's racism that causes you to discriminate, whether it's what is the homophobic? Is that it? Homophobia, which will cause you to what? Discriminate against. And I think that people try to say one is worse than the other.
And it's all hate.
It's all hate. It's all discrimination.
Yeah.
And you just putting labels on why I'm discriminating against you. I hate you because you're Black. I hate you because you're gay. I hate you because you're a woman. There's sexism. It's discrimination.
I've loved this conversation. Thank you so much for coming over and being on this episode.
Of course.
If y'all don't forget, if y'all want to connect with Miss Crystal Beverly, you can find her where?
You can find me at Crystal Beverly on all social media platforms. Beauty by 10. I'm sorry, that's Beauty X10. On all social media platforms, or the most reliable, beautyby10.com.
Period. I love that. And y'all already know that if you want to get to know a little more about me and my personal life, head over to my personal channel at Marcco Demond here on YouTube, where I release my lifestyle content, makeup, and music content as well. And you guys, it has been my pleasure. We will see y'all in the next episode. Bye, guys.